Being broke and bored is maybe one of the worst combinations ever, so here are some free hobby ideas that you can get stuck into immediately. Hello and welcome back to my channel, Other Side of Kate. If you're new here, thank you so much for being here. First of all, my name is Caitlin. I make a variety of different content, so if my videos stick, then you should stick around. I wanted to make a video of different hobby ideas, but specifically focusing on hobbies that you can do for completely for free or minimal resources, because I'm sick of all the latest hobby trends being something you need to make money with, and I just feel like it's not very accessible to the majority of the population. So I'm kind of taking some hobbies that usually can cost money, but we can make them free with a bunch of free resources, etc, etc. So if you're feeling bored, summer's coming, you have extra time, or maybe you just want to pick up something new, you're sick of your normal hobbies, or maybe your normal hobbies are costing you a lot of money and you need to make a little switch, you should stick around. I have, I think, maybe 8 different hobby ideas, so let's get started. Okay, so the first hobby is learning music production, and you don't have to be an aspiring artist or music producer or even study this to want to pick this up as a hobby. This can be something fun on the side, and you can learn so much through this. And then through learning how music production works, it can actually make your listening experience more interesting, because as you're listening to songs, you're picking up on how they've crafted that piece of artwork. So there's tons of free platforms such as GarageBand, there's Reaper, Cakewalk that you can use as different platforms. There's also a lot of websites that you can use. There's this really cool website called 10,000 Drum Machine, which basically lets you have access to so many different drums and beats, and it's kind of a cool trippy website, so I definitely use that. There's also, you can access Omnichord online. You don't need to buy an Omnichord. There are digital versions that you can play around with, which I think is so cool and accessible. There's also Radio Garden, which lets you access different radios all over the world, so you can kind of gain some insight as to what's trending in different countries and what people are actually actively listening to on the radio. There's also Isotope Vinyl, which is a free plugin that allows you to create some music. But what can be really fun with this is trying to maybe record your own voice and put it onto songs that already exist, or you can take 2 different songs and see if you can mash them together. Maybe learn how to DJ. That can be something so fun. Or you can get super creative and start recording different sounds around your house. Maybe record a pen dropping, or your washing machine going, your door closing, and see how you can actually craft a song through these sounds from what you've been learning. And I think this is just such a unique and creative skill to have, and you'll probably enhance your hearing and your senses through learning more about music and how it's produced together. And maybe, you never know, you'd have a friend who's an aspiring artist and you could help them out with your knowledge. But there are so many different YouTube tutorials and YouTube videos. I'll put a few in the video and link some down below, but YouTube is a free platform. Go use it to your heart's desire. You can learn so much on how to produce some music. The next hobby is photography, and no, you don't need a $4,000 pound camera to do this. If you're, whatever you're watching on this on, I assume has a camera. If it's a phone or your laptop, it will have a camera. So there's a starting point. And you can also ask your parents or friends or maybe family members if they have any old cameras lying about that you could play around with. And yes, these cameras aren't the best quality, but that provides a challenge for you, and be kind of fun to get some old style photos on these old cameras, and it just feels so analog, which I think is something so nice rather than filming with a phone. But if you are filming with a phone or a laptop, then there are tons of resources, such as there is Dazcam, which is an app you can download on iOS and Android that have basically filters that are dedicated to certain cameras, so you can get a certain effect or feel you would from a camera if you just put the filter on. And this is such a good resource. There's also websites such as Digicam. You can do this as well. You can make your photos look pixelated. You can make them look really cool. You can get super creative with the editing process. Like literally just take, even if you take old photos you found on the internet or old photos you've taken, you can learn different editing techniques on free platforms. Even if you use like Canva or even CapCut, there's so much stuff you can do on there just for free. You can learn, there's something I've been wanting to learn really recently, which is how people double expose like flowers onto photos, and people use a lot of like videos of flowers and do it on to videos, and I think that looks really awesome. But something else you can do is try to think of photo shoot concepts and then see if you can creatively direct a photo shoot. Maybe if you have friends who like to have their photos taken, or if you have a photographer friend, shoot them a message and be like, hey, like, what do you think of this concept as a photo shoot? Would you like to do it with me? Or try to do it with your friends with just like a phone. Like something I've been loving recently is the technology in nature concept. Is like the office siren lying in the lake, and they full on have like a laptop just in the water, and they're like pretending to type and be at the office. I'll put some pictures, but just like creative stuff like that. Even just make like Pinterest board, make mood boards of like photo shoots you'd love to make in the future, or you just think could be really cool concepts. Yes, you can be so creative with it. Next hobby is creative writing. If you have access to the Notes app on your phone, Word, Google Docs, you have a piece of paper and a pen, you can fully do this. And I think this is so fun because it trains your brain to start imagining stuff, and I think it completely rewires your brain chemistry. I feel the same way about journaling. I have made some videos of like cool creative writing prompts to do with journaling in a couple of my previous videos if you're interested in that, but I'm specifically talking more like actually getting into story writing. Maybe just to start off, you can take your favorite childhood stories or movies or books and see if you can write a sequel to that, or try rewrite an aspect of that media. Maybe try include a plot twist that never existed, and just really see what your imagination can come up with. And maybe write down some like novel ideas that could be really unique, or maybe even start writing a novel. But something I think is really fun is to design and create these characters. See if you can really delve into the psychology of this character that you're creating. What would their favorite food be? What is their greatest fear? What is their dynamics like with their parents, their friends? Like, what is their motive in life? And try to fully detach yourself from this character. Like, you're not writing your own character of yourself, you're writing someone completely different. So you can research a bunch of different aspects. Maybe you're taking little traits from different characters in media or people you know in real life and creating this new person. And then I think it's really fun to make like character profiles. Like, you can design them on like Word, or you can even draw them out and like write down their little profiles, and then see if you can create another family and like branch out by writing their like whole family tree and see how that works. And yeah, you can just have so much fun writing like character dynamics and stories. But also, if you just want simple, short, creative writing ideas, there are tons and tons of prompts on Pinterest. I'll pop a few here, but just let your creativity run wild. Just write. And if you're not a writer before, it can be really interesting to see how your brain starts to process writing, as it's never really done it before in at least an imaginative aspect. So that could be something really fun and something that can make you really, really smart. Interior design, and you may be thinking, how the hell am I going to do that without any money? I'm not talking about actually going and designing the interior of houses, buying furniture, etc., but more the design creative aspect of it. There are some like fun websites where you can like utilize the different resources of interior design, even creating mood boards and using prompts to design rooms. For example, maybe you've been hired to design a room for a fire fairy who lives in a forest, but every time she gets angry, she sets the tree and forest on fire. So you have to design a fireproof room that cultivates her fire-like energy, and she feels creative, and she's like an artist and she likes living here. But everything has to be minuscule because she's a fairy, and it has to work in a natural environment. You know, it's just fun prompts like this. There's so much fun you can do, and then you can really use your editing skills. Maybe like download PNGs from like Pinterest or online, remove backgrounds or pieces of furniture, use a room and see if you can edit it to like really try and learn how they do that and make blueprints and stuff for all these buildings and rooms. And or maybe it's just designing a mood board of your dream house or your room. Maybe see if you can design what you'd like each room of your future house in different cute little aspects that you'd like to include. This is kind of like a very silly kind of thing to do, because it's kind of really hard to be an interior designer without the money. But I'm talking about more the like creative hypothetical side of it, so that could be fun. Is to start a Substack or a blog. This is so accessible to like anyone who has internet access, which I know you do because you're watching YouTube right now. You can literally just download Substack, you can get it on the web, you can get it on your phone, curate an account, and then just start writing cool things. Maybe start writing little articles about what you've been watching recently, what you've seen, cool recipes you found. Maybe share your own recipes, maybe your own story, different prompts. Like you can just like really, or like if you find a topic interesting and you really like to have conversations about it, write down and make an article about that topic as if you're having a conversation with someone. Like you can just be so creative. And like for blogs, etc., there's like websites such as NeoCities, which I've talked about on this website before. See if you can learn how to code and design your own blog and website in NeoCity, and just like be super creative. You don't even have to make it anything to share to someone. Maybe it can just be like a digital archive of, so when you look back and you're an adult, you're like, what did I like listening to and watching and doing when I was 20 years old, 16 years old? And it can just be something really fun. You can use editing resources such as like CapCut, Canva, PixArt. So yeah, just have fun, blog, write articles, and just like try and document your life on something that isn't just like taking photos on a phone. You know, hobby is to try and design a Discord server and try create a community. You don't have to be a famous person, a content creator, a YouTuber to have your own Discord server. Or if you have one with your friends already, perfect. Try and see if you can creatively enhance the server. Back in the day when I used to use Discord a lot, I used to have so much fun with actually just not even making the server, but designing the server. I used to have so much fun with the fonts and the colors. I'd design and create banners, and I'd come up with really cool names for all the roles for people. And I try program these bots to be able to do different things to make the whole server really fun. And maybe try plan weekly things. Maybe see if you can come up with like a movie night concept and see if you can get people on board. Or if you don't have any friends to make this server with, see if you can pull random people from the internet to be in this server, and it could just be a fun way for you to make some friends. Or maybe people will be like, whoa, like this is a really cool server, I can't believe you designed this. This is really fun. Or it can just be for yourself. Again, Discord servers, I used to make my own ones and kind of throw all my media, photos, what I was liking into it, so it can also be another way of archiving your interests and stuff digitally for you to look back on in the future. I have 2 bobby pins and you're in need of a very practical skill. Learn how to lockpick. There are tons of YouTube tutorials and stuff online on how to teach you this, but I think just to start off, all you need is like 2 bobby pins, and then you twist and bend them in different ways. And if you live in a house, you have access to a door and a little keyhole, so you can absolutely try this. And this is a really hard skill to learn. You have to learn how to feel for the different like soft spots within the lock. And yeah, I just think it's a really cool skill you can learn. It's kind of like a party trick almost. But yeah, learn how to pick a lock. Speaking of a cool party trick, try and learn some cool card games, card tricks, or shuffling techniques. So when you're playing cards and it comes to the needing to shuffle them, you have like a really cool technique on how to shuffle cards. And also learning card games is like a really hard skill to master. At least for me, I've tried to understand different card games from my friends and my brain just like really struggles to wrap my head around it. But I'm sure if I took the time and actually like sat and watched a YouTube tutorial, I'd eventually learn. But that's something really cool you can do and then you can bring to parties. And then also just learning more card games than the one you always play and is the only one you know. Something else you can do is to get a pack of cards and try and like design them and like paint on them, create some art and like almost redesign the card pack. And I think this is a really cute gift you can do for someone, or just a really cool way to personalize your own cards, because like all card decks kind of look the same unless you're getting a specific themed one. So if you just have a simple one and you're bored of it and you want to do it up and make it look nice, I'll put a bunch of pictures. People make so many cool card decks. So make a new cool card deck and learn some card games. And if you don't have your own card deck, then just like learning how to do these games online can be like a good tool to have when you do get into a situation where you do have cards to play with. This is kind of like a branch of research as a hobby, which I do have a video about if you need some topic ideas. But research is so accessible to everyone. You have access to the internet. There's so many free materials you can use. But just specifically for this one, you can put it into more of a practice, is to research and learn more about stars and constellations. And then once you've kind of learned a bit more of all the different constellations, it will take a bit of your time to learn this all, but learning the planets and the constellations, when it comes to nighttime, you can go outside and see if you can put it into practice and see if you can recognize any of the constellations. Or maybe if you're out at night with your friends, you can look up at the sky if it's a clear night and you could be able to name the different shapes and figures, and you can tell which star is a star, or maybe one light is a planet. And just, I think that's something you can learn that can make you really smart, and it's also just learning more about the planet. But that's a cool research idea. But there are so many topics you can research and learn about as a hobby that will give you a really good set of skills in the world. So yeah, go learn about some stars, and those are a few free hobby ideas. It's kind of a short video, but I thought it would be a fun one to make. But I have plenty more ideas, so if you're interested, stay tuned. Please subscribe and like, and thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.